Tonight's final presidential debate of 2020 comes as a record number of people are voting early in person, and more than 33 million Americans have already returned their absentee ballots. But there's debate over how some of those ballots are being collected, with many now wondering if you have your completed mail-in ballot in hand, what's the best way to turn it in? ABC's Devin Dwyer examines that in tonight's Ballot Watch.
It's democracy Snoop Dogg style.
Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot.
Just drop it in a box.
Voting by drop box is taking a star turn in 2020, from Star Trek's George Takei to pop star Camila Cabello. Thousands of voters in 35 states returning a record number of absentee ballots directly to official collection bins.
I really felt like I needed it to be secure.
With warnings about Postal Service delays, many say hand delivery is the most reliable option.
There wasn't a line, or it wasn't crowded or anything.
If more people vote early or vote by ballot box or by mail, there'll be less lines, less problems.
Artist Sam Wells took ABC News along to a Dropbox drive-thru in the key state of Florida.
About to drop off my ballot at one of the Broward County, Florida official drop boxes.
But as their popularity soars, top Republicans are pushing back on ballot drop boxes. In Texas, Governor Greg Abbott has ordered no more than a single ballot collection box per county.
If you live in the outer skirts, you're going to drive 40, 50 miles to get to that drop location.
Ohio's Republican Secretary of State imposing the same rule, limiting each of 88 counties to one ballot collection point.
In Ohio, there are over 10,000 blue U.S. Postal Service boxes just like this. And by the way, most Ohioans have a mailbox right at the end of their own driveway.
President Trump alleges drop boxes are a voter security disaster, claiming without evidence they encourage the illegal collection of ballots en masse. In Pennsylvania, the Trump campaign sued over drop boxes, arguing they exponentially enhance the threat of fraudulent or otherwise ineligible ballots. The courts threw that argument out.
I went to court and said to the president, hey, Mr. President, put up or shut up, demonstrate that fraud. It's actually a very low legal bar you have to demonstrate. He couldn't even cross that bar.
4 years ago, Trump himself was encouraging use of drop boxes.
If you haven't mailed in your ballot, don't do that. Bring it. Bring it. Take it to the drop box.
And in California, Republicans recently installed more than 4 dozen unofficial drop boxes of their own.
We have demanded from the state Republican Party that they identify for us what ballots they may have collected through these unauthorized drop boxes.
Nearly 1 in 6 voters cast ballots by drop box 4 years ago. A record increase is expected this fall.
Gets it into the hands of election officials faster. That's especially important in states where voters have to return ballots by the end of Election Day.
Election watchdogs say they've seen no evidence of Dropbox-related fraud. The most commonly used metal containers weigh up to 600 pounds, many monitored by camera.
The majority of states use a process where they send bipartisan teams out to retrieve ballots.
Their use varies widely by state. Tennessee bans drop boxes entirely, but in Colorado, where most residents vote by mail, roughly 75% of ballots are returned in official collection boxes.
For voters, I think especially people who are worried about their health, it's probably the easiest and best way to be able to make sure that your ballot is received on time.
What's your advice for people now at this juncture? They've completed their at-home ballot. What should they do with it? What's the best bet?
You can drop it in the mail, but most certainly you want to do it as soon as possible. Otherwise, dropping it off at one of those secure ballot drop boxes really is probably the safest and easiest way to make sure that your ballot is counted in and on time.
And if all else fails, you can still show up and vote in person.
Going to the polls and voting in person may actually now be a plan B for many Americans. Devin joins us now. Devin, we heard that experts say that now is the time to get your vote in if you have an absentee or mail-in ballot. So how many ballots are still out there, and what are officials saying about whether it's too late to put ballots in the regular mail at this point?
Yeah, Lindsay, an estimated 52 million Americans who requested an absentee ballot have not yet turned it in, according to the U.S. Election Project. Of course, there are a lot of ways to get that ballot in the bank, but if you're one of those 52 million and you are planning on putting it in the mail, now is the time to do that. The deadline is upon us. And in fact, the Secretary of State in Michigan this week said Monday in that state was the last safe day to put it in the mail. She's now encouraging everyone in that swing state to go to a drop box if they still have the ballot in their hands. Remember, most states, 29, require the ballot to be received by Election Day. 21 say it just needs to be postmarked. Check the rules in your state. But obviously, if you have a mail ballot, get it in the mail now. There's really no need to wait.
And we're also seeing some concerns out there about voter intimidation potentially happening for some who do end up voting in person. What resources are out there if someone has a concern at their polling place?
Yeah, the concerns are really heightened this year for obvious reasons. A lot of voters on edge, and in light of the reports last night from Homeland Security officials that foreign actors are already trying to influence how we vote and whether we vote. And I'm told, Lindsay, that there is a small army of nonpartisan election lawyers around this country, 23,000, in fact, with the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights under the law. It's the nation's premier election law group that is helping voters get to the polls. They say if you see something, say something. Don't wait. Speak up if something doesn't feel right at the polls. And even if you're at home and you get an unusual email, give them a call. It's 1-866-OUR-VOTE. 1-866-OUR-VOTE. They've been doing this for many years. They're the largest and longest running program in the country, Lindsay, and they will be out in force these final 2 weeks.
But back to that old adage of if you see something, say something. Devin Dwyer, thanks so much.
Thanks, Lindsay.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.